Welcome to the second episode of The Sophisticated Murder Hobos.
Woo! Sounds about right.
I didn't say at the end of last session, 2 Fates and 1 Persona, is our normal go with Burning Wheel. And then for a Fate Point, who would like to summarize what happened last session?
I will. So, I need a map though, that being said.
We have 3 here. Unlabeled.
No. Nope.
Remember this?
Well, maybe.
Not that
I just
one.
want to
Which map?
find
I
my
got the
notes. There they are.
Proving
Jeez,
Grounds,
I knew I could find them
Yvel,
somewhere.
and I think Soorin.
So, we each found ourselves instructed in our own ways to the Crown Sorcerer Proving Grounds. Whether it be by someone who is working there, whether it's against his will or not, someone who is studying there, whether it's against her will or not, an elf, and myself, the totally normal one of the group. As I pulled into town, I drew quite the attention from our from a small.
I'm big. I'm small for an orc.
A small orc named Pocket, who followed my carriage, and a elf named Aerith, who I invited up because she also had business with the assistant minister of magic in the area. So being sent here and on my task, I generally got to it with Aerith in tow, meeting up with Julian Penryle, who was standing in for the Master of Magic's Mr. Collins. Colas, excuse me. Now, after that, though, he was very insistent that we needed I also had a very short run-in with a Lady Merrick in the common house in Toulouse, her servant, who I thought that went wonderfully. That being said, the task from the Assistant Minister of Magic was to go to Soorin with the present companions to the prince's sister, Velthuria, and she would provide us with further orders. While in the Sorcerer's Proving Ground, basically it looked to be of a up-and-coming little warcaster university with scorch marks on the ground and hushed classroom sessions in the library that one of my companions loved to try to interrupt.
It's literally to not interrupt anything.
So we did take off from just outside of Yvel on our way south to Soorin. And while most of us had our own reasons for going, we generally made our way down, quickly skipping over any bonding time that we would have had over the month and a half, and we should probably talk about that real quick before we end up in Soorin, because I think, we had a chance to get to know each other at least a little bit now. That's the gist of it. As we quickly headed down to Soorin, I did forget the ballad that is the hunt. The hunt of Aerith. It is a tragedy, however, because boy howdy, you're bad at it.
I haven't gone hunting.
Sorry. Of Crag. Because he is bad at it.
Okay, he got 2 boars.
We ate just fine, did we not? And a rat.
As far as I know, yes.
Ballad of Aerith has a ring to it, though.
Does.
Unless you had to interject something I did want to talk about the past month and a half that we have been together.
I think you got everything, actually.
Almost. Take a fate point, but you also got a letter.
Well, yes, but I was not about to.
Yeah, well, yeah, but everyone knows you got a letter.
Oh, yes, and of course, I did receive a letter from
Somebody.
someone, yes. We did also find some incidental information, mainly about the elves being not present here, you being very odd. Some goblins moving out of Serna, and that
And
Keppa has a large
goblin
work camp now.
intermingling.
Kappa?
Yes.
We didn't. Go ahead, sorry.
Yes, the yet to be seen if we have seen the very odd mannerisms of our companion around Keppa, which I would be very interested in knowing if I know about.
Okay. Well, one thing we didn't close the loop on. Last session you asked me if you'd seen elves before, and I was trying to convey to you there is definitely opportunity that you could have, but it's ultimately up to you whether or not you would have wanted exposure beforehand.
Wanted? Needed? We'll go with lows. 1 or 2 I've been in direct dealings with. 3 or 4 I've seen.
Okay.
Okay, so I've seen elves before.
Okay.
An elf or 2. So not, oh my god, it's an elf. But, like, that's odd. That's an elf.
Okay. So you've seen elves before. You wanted to talk about their mannerisms while we're passing through first Keppa. Well,
I think just in general.
it actually also depends because Serna you can go around if you want to because there's not a major water obstacle. There's a stream that goes through it, actually a couple streams that go through Serna, but you can just hop over them. So we tried going through Serna. Pocket wanted to get coffee, but Pocket's a filthy greenskin. And
I heard probably Colas talk about coffee before and wanted to try it, and still have not tried it.
still you have not.
And notable is that I was more successful in acquiring coffee beans.
That's
And
right.
2 specific recipes for preparation of coffee.
That's right. Aerith was successful in that regard. So that was Serna, then we moved down to Keppa. Keppa has, I think, the River Pellic running through it, and so you have to go through Keppa. Would Pocket like to explain how she kind of behaved as you guys were passing through Keppa?
Oh, I was probably curled up in a ball, not wanting to look outside the wagon.
Okay.
Just in the corner of it with my back in the corner, not pretending it didn't exist.
Okay. Okay.
If I were to ask you why, hey, just what's going on? Is everything okay? Do I need to be worried about your safety here?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, then stay hidden, right?
Yep.
Pull a tarp over her.
Okay.
Face, I'm not trying to gain insights into your.
No,
just
I mean,
little.
I've been here before. It didn't go well.
Anyone looking for you?
Nope.
Right.
There's no one left to look for me.
Could be worse.
Don't talk about Keppa.
So
Good enough.
you do notice that Keppa is a newly walled city. It still has a palisade, a wooden palisade instead of a stone wall.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember, but there might be a big gaping hole in the palisade where there's supposed to be a gate, and there's still like cleanup crews, mostly orc prisoners that are like hauling away the broken lumber and are being supervised with installing new timbers to rebuild the palisade. There are also craters and collapsed buildings immediately inside the gate. Like, once you get in the gate, there's a big square, and opposite the square there are collapsed buildings and craters and scorch marks on the pavement, on the cobbling. And then throughout the town, there's signs of, it's not very recent fighting, but the second battle, so Keppa had 2 battles, one where the Orcs took it over, and one where the Prince's army liberated it, and both battles were very bloody. And so the blood is still on the cobbling and all around.
A lot of it human.
Some of it human. You're thinking about the other one, though, I think. So you pass through Keppa without incident. Cogril is nearly deserted, and it's basically a cluster of abandoned buildings at this point. There's a skeleton crew of some soldiers just kind of making sure that no one moves into the town. And there's a few farmers that are trying to put their lives back together, but Cogril's like a ghost town. And then you finally arrive in Soorin. Was there anything else that you wanted to go over while you were on the road? Did you want to... I remember you talked about making a wise test maybe, or...
Not at this moment.
Okay.
I keep watching the flower head to see if they do anything funky. Especially like when they're cooking or something.
Do you do anything funky?
Well, I'm gonna do something funky, alright.
Okay, Aerith will do funky cooking. Or something.
At some point before we arrive in Soorin, I would like to make Pocket a cup of... We don't have any milk on hand, so a Clendon-style coffee.
Yeah, you can attempt a Clendon-style coffee brewed in water.
Okay, I believe that's a perception check.
At this point, like right after Serna, I probably would have asked for like a couple of the beans, just the bean itself, to see if I could do something.
You can have a
with
bean.
it.
Okay.
I believe herbalism is a good fork for this.
Yeah.
So let's go. You know, I'm training my dice to do better. Those are 3s and not 1s. I think I'll spend a fate point to open that 6.
Okay.
So 3 successes
On cooking or on perception?
on perception for cooking.
Okay.
Is that...
You successfully make brown water. It doesn't taste like water anymore, so...
How about a persona?
Oh my, on cooking.
Wow, it's...
You're gonna make a good housewife someday.
So 4 successes on perception.
Alright.
So that's obstacle 2, which I think is, I believe should suffice.
A simple meal for the group. I would say, since this is basically coffee for 1 or 2, that is well under a meal, so 2 successes against cooking is sufficient. So you have, it's not quite the same, but it's not quite different from the smells that you would smell when you would take meals with Colas and his family. So you think you are drinking some kind of coffee. I don't know how you feel about this coffee.
Well, like, sample a spoon before actually delivering it to make sure I just didn't make brown water, I actually made coffee.
Okay.
Did I get it mostly right?
Yeah.
Okay.
From what you know of coffee.
Not sure I'm a fan. I do appreciate the pink skin's effort, but yeah.
Well, there's other ways of preparing it, you know, by different people all around the world. Maybe it's just this type isn't your kind.
I mean, it's not like, where's it, caramels or something like that. It's just, this is bitter. This is...
Oh yes, that's on purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
Staying out of the coffee.
So that's after Serna, that's after Kepa, that's after Coggerel. You're arriving at Soorin, which is a walled city. It's similar to Yvel in its grandeur, but it is smaller. It's about, let's see, I think Leone is the only one that really has a scope of comparison, having lived in Yvel for a while, and being able to pick out pretty easily, like, Yvel's like 3 times bigger than this. But Soorin is still a big city. Yvel has like 100,000 people in it at full population, so Soorin looks maybe somewhere between 20 and 40,000 people. Just from the outside looking in, seeing how far the walls stretch to either side. So if you refer to your maps, these maps, the ones of where you can actually see towns on them, Soorin sits at the junction of 3 rivers, so it's sometimes called the City of 3 Rivers. And so as you're coming to the gates, you notice that there's a healthy amount of guards at the gates, and there are the wooden doors of the gates are gone. The iron portcullis is down, but there are guards on both the inside and the outside. You can see some guards up on the wall, and there are huge, like very deep black scorch marks coming out of all the arrow slits of the both towers of the gatehouse.
Well, Leon, I believe that getting us into the city would be your set of skills. You've got the documents.
Yes, but yeah.
And so, just to make sure that I'm understanding, riding at the front of the wagon, there's Leone and Aerith.
Yes.
And Pocket and Crag are chilling in the back under the cover of the wagon.
So we don't draw attention.
Okay.
Because fully aware how they
We should
feel
probably
about us.
tell the guards of our 2 passengers and that they are like specifically drafted by the assistant minister.
If
Right.
they
Well,
care.
first thing is first, and that is not telling anyone why we're here. Yes?
Oh, I'll keep my mouth shut.
Right, okay. So,
Great, because I don't know why we're here.
guys back there, yes. You're the guards. Just act like guards. Thank you.
How can I act like a guard sitting in the back?
Good thing is we don't have any goods for you to guard yet. So you don't have anything to guard yet.
I'm not here to guard goods.
Right.
Right. So you're pulling up to the gate?
Yes, with some, like, hey, you know, this
I know.
is, basically just, I'm a merchant doctor. You know, hey, here's my, I don't know what paperwork they have back then.
Okay.
Basically, you know, some association with a,
Trade guild.
Yvel trade guild.
Sure.
And then I'm down here to pick up goods.
To pick up goods.
To pick up goods.
Okay.
Because I don't have any goods. I need some goods.
Okay. So you come up to the gate. Guard slows you down and comes up. You know.
Morning to you.
Morning, good sir. State your business here.
I'm just down trying to pick up some goods. Bring back to Yvel.
Oh. Good fortune with that.
Look surprised.
I don't want to ruin it for you. And he makes a gesture behind him, and one of the guards that's inside the portcullis like peeks into one of the towers and calls up, and after a moment, and the guard here is just kind of giving you this bemused, like,
I'm
okay,
not going to tell him wrong. That's fine.
everybody's got a surprise.
Yep.
So the portcullis creeps up, and he stands aside. Be on your merry way, Master Merchant.
Thank you very much. Keep your hood up.
So, oh, and I forgot, you have
Because that isn't sus at all.
you have your 2 mules, Flapjack and Biscuit. Okay, so you get inside the gate, and another big square, really big square. You get the impression that this would have been an informal open-air market and traffic routing square where in the various avenues of the city that you could go in a bunch of different directions. I think I handed out a map of Soorin last week. Yeah, Little Markia is just, it was leveled. And so you're coming in that gate to Newtown, and that 4-way intersection there, that's a big square. And there is, it was a cobbled square, but the whole thing is churned up. There are bits of cobbling strewn everywhere. There's a pile of cobblestones that have been just collected and cleared and just put there to be relayed later. All of the buildings that lined it have been destroyed. They've been collapsed or ripped apart or destroyed by means that is far beyond normal magic. Or excuse me, normal means. Probable, I mean, it's the stuff of legends. And so...
And I haven't seen this kind of anywhere else.
No. If anyone wants to make a battles-wise test or campaign-wise or any kind of wise that you can convince me how it applies.
I would like to postulate either artillery-wise or magic-wise.
Okay.
Assuming this looks like it was done by, artillery, like, that could be excused as way as ballistas, not just magic.
There's a lot of burn marks and scorches.
Flaming trebuchets.
Okay.
Let's do magic-wise.
Okay.
I'm going to use that more. I told you I was training my dice. That is a 5 successes on perception.
So 2.5. So we'll go to wises.
I think that's interesting factoid.
To you, this would very obviously seem to be fire magic beyond the scope of book magic.
So either I could reason that book magic has advanced for humans, or they had blood mages involved.
Yeah,
Either or.
either or a summoned creature.
Or a summoned creature. That sounds even better. And not terrifying at all.
Not at all.
You can stab a wizard, you can't stab a demon.
You can stab a demon.
Just won't work.
It might.
Anyway, that's one test of magic.
I mean, it depends on what you're stabbing it with, and again, if this is only fans content. But given that it's not,
So this isn't going to my only elves.
okay. It's not only elves. Right on.
Proceed, cart driver.
Mush.
That did not stop.
Okay, so you are moving on, and it's worst right there, and you pass through different spots of it where there's similar carnage, but most of what you see, it shows the signs of regular fighting, not the whole town isn't leveled like this. It's more the signs of damage that you could expect from what's been going on over the past 2 years, which is for the most part, humans and orcs fighting, or humans and goblins fighting. So, doors ripped off frames, for some shop fronts where the shop is recessed behind the building and the upper floor has an overhang. Some of the pillars are ripped off, and that lack of support has caused some of them to collapse. Things like that. Things that you could do if you got really mad or if you had a friend helping you. Plaster ripped off, bricks smashed out, things like that.
I'm probably peeking outside, tracking our journey so that if need be, I have an escape route.
Okay.
Because
That's incredibly wise.
that's one of my instincts, is to have an escape route.
Okay.
So I know which direction I need to go, what may look familiar.
Okay.
I'm just, slit eye peeking. Is the sun on this side? So what does that make?
Okay. Awesome sauce. All right. So you're aware of which way's the mountainside, which way.
I mean, the trader is, I know moving.
Yes. Okay. So the next set of trauma depends on how you want to get to the Citadel. So presumably, the Viceroy of Velthuria is waiting in the Citadel. So in general terms, do you want to go through the High Quarter, or do you want to go into Old Town and then the High Quarter? And also, is there anything that you want to do on the way? And oh, by the way, this place is a fucking ghost town. You see the soldiers on the wall and manning the gates. You see a few soldiers patrolling the town, but there is almost nobody here otherwise.
Right.
That's what he meant.
Righteous.
Right to the top then.
So you want to go through the High
Might as
Quarter?
well. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless I otherwise have knowledge of this town.
Would you like to have knowledge of this town with a... if you don't have Soorin wise, you can test for perception.
I sure can.
You want help on that?
I mean, I'm looking out on the town.
Either yes or no.
I have a 1.
Good job.
I mean, I'm not like, hey, does anyone know anything about this town?
So, what you know with half of a success
Yes.
is that there was a notable wine merchant in Soorin that dealt in bringing up Eklendon wines from proper Eklenda and bringing down Marin wines from further north in the Gershon lands and in Markia to sell on the Eklendon market. That would probably be on your way in High Quarter, if you remember correctly.
I would like to just go on by and see if his storefront is still there.
Okay. So that'll take you into the High Quarter.
Okay.
And the gatehouse to the High Quarter is guarded. The portcullis is open. The gates are similar. The wooden doors are similarly gone. The hinges are still there. And there's ash around. And again, those scorch marks are on the towers for the gatehouse. And if you look up at the crenellations in the wall, you see the scorch marks from a blast as if it came from on the wall. If these are crenellations, you see the scorch marks on this side, and this side. But as you pass, you don't see them on this side, this side, this side, and this side. So it's like whatever happened, it came from this direction and scorched it on these sides of the crenellations. You're admitted into the High Quarter with no incident. You also know that the High Quarter was like the classier section of Soorin. It is similarly leveled. It is ash, pretty much from wall to wall. It's unmitigated. The recovery efforts clearly have gone to the outer sections of Soorin and repairing the damage to the security infrastructure and making accommodations available for anyone that is still there.
All right, then. I assume
And if
my merchant contact is not available. The man I've heard is a wine merchant. I just want to see if his storefront's even.
you can make a perception test.
Yes, I can.
Anyone can make a perception test, but
So,
Just in general?
number 1.
I don't even know what we're looking for. More human stuff.
okay.
You intrigued me.
There are no shops left.
I have 1 success.
Oh my.
I have trained my dice well.
Yes, you have.
5.
5 successes on perception. So, you see most clearly of all that this section of town underwent a very, very bad fire that spread very, very quickly. And that the recovery efforts, aside from clearing the street, have not begun. And you can still see skeletal arms extending from the ash and the rubble, where people basically burnt to death inside a collapsed building. Not a small number of them. In the context that about 30,000 people-ish might fit inside those walls, take that percentage that would fit in High Quarter in less space-efficient accommodations that richer people live in, about that many people got roasted.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. You also note that a lot of them were half size, like the height of children, but upon further squinting, their heads are large, like a goblin skull. So, a lot of humans, a lot of goblins, a lot of even smaller people. Can't tell if they're human babies or if they're young goblin children. They're about the same size. Pocket goes back under the blanket.
I don't notice anything.
Great tragedy happened here.
Indeed it was. And you otherwise pass without event. I'm actually going to make a note of your wine merchant, though. And because I forgot to mention it earlier, sorry, now that you've been on the road for 45 days and are now getting here, it is Play Day, the 9th day of the week,
Yes.
first week of the month Barenk, which is the 6th month of the year. Year 796, it is late summer. So, with the turning of this month, it will be autumn.
Play day, 9th day.
Yep. First week, 6th month of the year, Barenk. For Aerith, it's the 69th day of summer. This is the elf calendar for you.
Okay.
If you wanted to keep track of it. The year is 18,033. And for Pocket and Crag, if he's interested, it is early in the 9th moon, the year 3116, according to the Goblin calendar. If anyone cares.
1833.
18033.
I'm here for play day.
18,033. So, you... There's my map, there's my map.
I know so much.
I'm so old. Approach the gatehouse to the Citadel, which does not have those scorch marks. The Citadel still has its gate. The gate is open, and it's guarded. At this point, the guards are not going to believe your merchant story. Probably because you passed all the markets that are all burnt to the ground.
Yeah. I would figure as much.
Good day, sir.
Good day. We are here with an appointment with Velthuria.
With Velthuria,
The princess Velthuria.
the Viceroy.
Viceroy.
Yes.
Prince. Is it Viceroy?
Viceroy,
Fine,
Princess
no.
Air.
Um,
She's got a long ass
Prince's sister. Okay, yeah, Prince's sister. Yeah, Velthuria, the Viceroy of Soorin, Princess Air. May she long reign and live. Etc.
On what business?
That's something of a mystery to myself as well. We were sent here by the Ministry of Magic.
Wait here. And so the guard gets up, he speaks, he goes through the gate and gives you like the halt hand, like don't start moving. He speaks to another guard, that guard runs off. And this guard comes back and says, I would ask that you just wait here. Someone will be with you. So, do you want to do anything in the probable 20 minutes that you're going to be waiting?
Sneak a peek again.
Of?
Surroundings.
Okay. Behind you, the city burnt down.
Okay, no, I'm good.
Left, right, and behind. In front of you are the walls of the citadel that reach high, 30 paces high.
So once I get in there, it's going to be a pain in the butt to get out if I had to.
It potentially could be a pain. On the other hand, you know from your instinct and what you saw before you entered that the citadel's far wall is against the river. In using your instinct, if you would like to make some kind of wise test,
Would this be part of orienteering? No.
you could make a castle's wise. You can make a perception test to learn a wise if you're interested. If not, that's fine.
Probably perception. Ooh, 2 successes.
Okay. So what Pocket would probably be able to figure out is that if a castle is this close to a river, there's some way for them. They're not going to go all the way out of the castle down to the river to get water. There's got to be some method that they're getting water into the castle.
Some channel or something.
Something.
Okay.
Yep.
The guy we talked to went and talked to another guy.
Yep.
They ran away.
Or yeah.
Were they too far that I can test perception to hear what they said?
With your ears, you can test that. Same thing with your ears.
Yeah, I definitely want a perception.
Yeah, and I think your ears give you a bonus too. If you've got the big ears.
I've
Yeah.
got bad news. I've got great news. Bad news is that.
Okay.
Great news is I have 2 6s and 3 fate points.
Okay.
So I'm gonna open one of those.
Yep.
You know, I don't see anything for my ears.
I think I put it in the house rules for, let me check. Did you get any successes with your...
Fate point?
No. Okay.
But I do have persona still. Okay.
Burn that, Arthur. Bam.
I have 2 successes on perception.
Okay, big ears, die trait. All of goblin kind has large ears, granting a +1 die for all perception and observation obstacles that involve hearing and listening.
Okay.
Right. So you have a total of 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Pocket is going to let me know how many she's got.
2.
2. Okay. So they're not particularly trying to hide it, but largely because they think they're out of earshot. But for Aerith and Pocket, you can make out a few things, and they seem to be debating about who they should go get. And it's between Edorea and Kawals. and they seem to decide on Edorea. So they leave, and the guards are garbed in usually either light mail or reinforced leather. A lot of them have spears and shields and other one-handed weapons as backups, like arming swords or short swords, axes, maces, things like that. Every now and then you see some archers. Most of the archers have short bows, and if anyone wants to make a heraldry test or some other wise to recognize the arms on the surcoats of the guards, that's fine too.
Is heraldry will or perception?
Perception. Anything where you're like knowing stuff inside your head, it's usually perception. Anything where you're trying to affect the outside world, like a social skill, it's usually will.
Well, you know what? I'll never turn down a free perception test.
Of course.
Or, well, conditionally free test.
Yeah.
Because perception of bitch. So I have 6 successes.
You. Okay. Let me give you the OB for that test. This is the equivalent of a second tier family, OB2, so it's an OB4 perception test. What?
May I posit, as an elf, even further separated from human society, I get a +1 OB.
Okay.
So that would become a difficult test for me.
Okay. So I think situational modifiers are added after, not before, so become an OB5 instead of an OB4. Unless you're wanting to know something very specific about this. But either way,
Just fishing.
Yep, it's this is the 1st Yvel Regiment in Soorin.
1st Yvel Regiment.
Yes.
And is that like the dominant heraldry I'm seeing?
Yeah. So, if I can remember my own heraldry, the Yvel Regiment, so the prince's own coat of arms, the coat of arms for the Yvel, the city, and the coat of arms for the regiments are very similar. It's I think a gray banner with a red downward-facing chevron, and the regiments are noted by red dots in the inside the chevron. So there's 1 dot here denoting the 1st regiment.
Huh. That's interesting.
If I have Wyval wise, could I roll that to see if I could pick that up?
Yeah,
I didn't know if the president
2!
2. Yeah. So you also are like, yeah, that's the 1st regiment colors. You also, I'm not sure if I actually wrote these people's colors down, and heaven forbid I actually get into a lore contradiction. That would be bad.
Well, we can't correct you.
No, but I might write something that makes it obvious that it's not correct.
So the Wyval is a gray banner with downward facing chevron. But was the 1st regiment is a red dot?
1 red dot, yep. And so 2nd regiment would be 2 dots, 3 dots, 4 dots for the 4th regiment. But the other thing I'm looking for is the Arladran colors. Okay, so some of the other guards, particularly near the Citadel, they have a surcoat with red and white vertical stripes. 8 stripes, 4 red, 4 white.
I think I completely butchered the banner, but you know,
That's okay.
And
artistic
Ars-
interpretation.
Al Arladran is based out of
Wyval.
Wyval. Interesting.
Or at least that's where the family's from. Okay, so you're just kind of chilling there for 20 minutes until a few more guards show up and someone who's significantly underdressed shows up. So this is an older woman, a significantly older woman. Iron gray hair, wrinkly face. She has kind of a swagger in her walk. But she also trips a little bit, and so you realize as she's about halfway through the gatehouse archway that part of her walk is confidence and part of her walk is alcohol. And so she's got a sword at her hip, and that's belted over a thick gambeson with the Yvel colors. So that's the gray surcoat with the red chevron, no dot.
Great. The only thing more better than a human is a drunk human.
They need to take a boot off.
Good
See
evening.
if she pukes.
And so she kind of swaggers up to the wagon, stands next to the guard. She's got 4 guards with her, and she spits. So what are you about?
We're just here to see Princess's sister, Velthuria, the Queen Princess Regent. Queen Regent?
Are you a fucking spy?
By the way, I don't have etiquette on here. I apparently haven't spent enough time in the noble court, so yeah, this is straight up here. Where? No, I am not. Merchant, yes. Spy, no.
Can I make a roll for that?
To be clear, I'm not a spy right now, right? I'm from Yvel, right?
You can make a roll either way.
I think either way, it's persuasion.
You strung
also.
together a whole bunch of titles there, Mr. Merchant Man.
I thought those were for all the same person.
Oh.
all the wrong.
Princess Velthuria, Viceroy
No,
of
the
Soorin.
prince's sister,
Yeah.
Velthuria.
I thought you said the princess's
No,
sister.
the prince's sister, Velthuria, Viceroy
Viceroy's.
of Soorin.
Okay.
I'm telling the truth.
Telling the truth, he says.
What am I?
Badly.
What am I rolling? Persuasion. Okay.
Or falsehood.
Look,
I
we
can
were
go
here
with
to
persuasion
send,
on this one.
we were here to see to them, so that's what we're doing here, and we got a 1. No, you're good. I have no idea where it is.
So, Mr. Merchant Man,
It's okay.
what's in the wagon?
It's down there somewhere. My bodyguards.
Let's see your bodyguards.
You know, probably trying to sneak them in doesn't gonna look good.
Bodyguards!
I think that means us.
I have a name.
Do you?
Do I hear this?
Biggin?
Them back there?
Yeah.
Up to you if you hear that.
I'm not quiet about it.
Yeah. Yes, very well. Crag and Pocket,
I will
Alright.
get out.
come on out.
Spear in hand. Shield at
Do you-
the ready.
to be clear-
So do you jump out like I'm about to fight, or do you
Yep.
just... Okay.
Because there was no
I just walk
context
out the
like,
back and hop down,
Okay.
knowing this cannot possibly go well.
nope, I'm ready for a fight.
Okay. Take a fate point. Crag takes a fate point.
Crag takes a big point, yeah.
Yep.
Please be patient. Our passengers are contextually challenged.
I challenge nothing.
So the guards all take a step back. Some of them reach for their weapons. You see some guards on the wall
It's okay.
are reaching into their quivers, and
I roll intimidation on them all.
and so the older lady holds up a hand, like, "Okay, Mr. Merchant Man, you want to bring these greenskins before the Viceroy. Do I have this correctly?
If they need to stay out here, then they need to stay out here. That's fine with me.
What's
You're in charge here.
What-
I'm just here to see
You know you are correct. I am
Velthuria.
in charge here.
So,
What is your business with the Viceroy?
well,
I just have my hands up in the air listening to this because humans feel more comfortable when they can see your hands.
we have been sent to assist her and have been told that she will have orders for us.
And you have a writ or something?
Did I actually get papers from the assistant? I don't think we actually have papers. And I say that because we have papers, I just don't know if they're legitimate or not.
Okay. I remember something being said last week of no matter if we have papers or we don't, we will have papers.
Basically, yeah.
And I said, because you're going to forge them.
Yeah.
And you said, yeah. And I said, okay. So this is really my question to you. You have papers, don't you?
Oh, we have papers. Yes.
Well, Mr. Merchant Man, let's see these fancy papers of yours.
Here are my papers.
Okay.
From the Assistant Minister of Magic, Julian Penryle, that sends myself, Leone, his traveling companion, and 2 guards down here to meet with the princes, to present ourselves to the princesses, to the symbolism,
That's right.
the princesses,
Her Grace,
Her Grace Velthuria.
the Viceroy.
Yes.
Either Her Grace or the Viceroy. That will be all that you need.
Yep.
A couple of those papers have mud on them.
Some of them have mud on.
Yeah, they have been well traveled.
It might have flown out the back of the wagon.
If I need to roll forgery.
And you should roll forgery.
So didn't you make that roll
Since
over
they
the back of the wagon and all the papers went out and you had to make the roll again?
Is
I
this,
believe that
a,
was something else.
It has leveled up.
Oh,
this is a retcon forgery, I take it?
maybe you improved the copy after the fact.
It's that I, the player, cannot remember if I got papers or not.
Okay.
If Leone, the person, went on a job and didn't get papers from who he went on the job from, he would forge those papers first
Okay.
and foremost.
Okay.
And then, add them to the stack of, I'm a merchant, I'm a XYZ.
Of course.
But if I'm taken into custody, my person and my clothes would be searched, it probably wouldn't end well.
Perhaps.
Perhaps, It's a 1.
You got some fate to spend?
It's not that I
Don't.
don't have any 6s.
So let's see here. F-O-R. Jury. Then make a document style. Obstacle 2, mimic handwriting. Obstacle 3, forge signature. Obstacle 4, forge stamp or seal. Obstacle 5, perfectly duplicate document. Obstacle 6, perfectly duplicate a signature. 7, perfectly duplicate handwriting.
Oh, I can fork in things though, right?
Calligraphy,
Those-
scribe, illuminations.
I don't have calligraphy. I read and write though. That's still no more successes.
So 1.
Still a 1
Okay. So
for a shabby piece of paperwork from the Assistant Minister of Magic. I'm going to assume that's at least a difficulty challenging test, and assume.
it's an OB1 test
Oh, okay.
because you've copied a document style.
Very well.
Okay. So. Okay, Mr. Merchant Man. Why is a merchant being sent by this Master Julian?
It's a very good question.
And do you have any brandy? Wine?
You have any wine back there?
I wish.
I do not believe we have any wine.
Beer? Ale? Anything?
I have coffee.
We have 2 orcs, an elf, and me.
You can call.
Okay.
We have some roasted rat you can offer.
No, I don't want any roasted rat from the green skin.
Good point. Yes, we do have. And boar, yes?
Yeah.
And boar, we have boar.
I have boar.
Fresh boar?
No, forget it.
Maybe some scraps that'll work.
Have a pickle.
Go Eastern European.
And a
otherwise
turkey
it goes
leg.
fresh. It does not work otherwise.
You always have pickles.
Right, so, Mr. Merchantman, you are sent here from Master Julian. Pull the wagon in, take that house there, and make yourselves presentable for her grace. And
I'm presentable.
come see me. I will be at the entrance to the Citadel over there,
I mean, you always smell like pickles.
and we will make you an appointment.
Thank you, Millie.
Yeah. So she leaves. You realize the whole time she didn't introduce herself.
That's okay.
And she just has that same, like, sort of drunk walk. Yes?
Well, who did the guards say they were gonna fetch?
They did say it seemed that they had decided on Edorea.
That was at your special hearing, though. I didn't hear any of that.
Does that start with an E or an A?
It starts with an E.
And I'm guessing the rest.
Okay.
Do not correct me. I'm a Starbucks employee.
All right.
And I'm not going to tell him because I don't know if that was Edorea. And I don't want to embarrass him.
Okay.
They were either going to get Edorea or Kowald?
Kowald.
Kowald.
So in you go. You have however long you want to freshen up from being on the road for 45 days and then just walking through a miniature wasteland.
Oh, yes. I'm going to get so fresh.
Yes, we'll definitely need to spritz up if you may.
Okay, there's a well and water. There's a few wells in the courtyard, so you can get water. There's the house that you're allotted seems to have been a dwelling for a craftsman of some type, and so there's 3 rooms and a common area. It's a stone house with a thatched roof. So any freshening or anything that you want to do in the meantime?
Question.
Yes.
I guess 2-point question. May I have come with soap from my homeland?
You may have homeland soap.
Okay. Second point of question. Do they have soap here?
You know the humans have soap in general.
As I'm like, literally here in this new residence we're provided.
You have a hard time finding soap here.
Animal fat and lye.
Going with the classic. Elven strawberry.
Elven strawberry, indeed. Right. Okay. So, unless there's anything else that anyone wants to do, you're presenting yourselves maybe an hour later after you've parked the wagon and tied off the mules and given them something to eat.
Assume everyone really just has their own little bundles, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've been traveling with.
They're like a little bone comb and...
Okay. Yeah. I'll see that they're
Okay.
flapjack and biscuit are tended to, and I am tended to.
Okay. So, at the doors of the Citadel, the same old lady and the same 4 guards are there, along with a few other guards. Point to note for the setting that the guards are both men and women.
And that is not a peculiarity.
That is not a peculiarity on this side of the mountains among humans.
Okay.
This is a peculiarity for Crag because orcs are a very male-dominated society, at least as far as you know. This is pretty normal for Pocket because of living amongst the people that she's lived among. It's similar in that way. At least in that way, if not a whole lot of other ways. So this lady is waiting for you, and she says, well, I kind of hoped that you would look a lot better for the amount of time that you took. You smell good.
Thank you. Would you like a sample? So, it's often.
No. I mean,
May I?
Yes.
Thank you.
You can't have all of it.
You said a sample, right?
Yeah.
Well, are you giving me the sample?
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Just immediately applying it.
Do
No, I'm
know
putting it
that
in my
that
pocket.
makes them
Ah.
easier to retract, right?
Well, your pocket was like right next to your armpit.
Okay.
So for my side,
I mean, to
You
be
know,
honest, it does smell better than your pickles.
It's my
I'm not hungry.
it's your hip pocket.
it's my chest shoulder holes there.
so you're putting the soap sample in a pocket.
Yes.
Great.
I just shake my
The
head.
elderly female knight is not saying anything about how you smell like a whore. Classy whore at that. And says, fine, I've already made the provision. The Viceroy will see you shortly. Follow me. And so she leads the way into the hall, and you have guards both in front of you and behind you, guiding you through. A lot of suspicious eyes on Pocket and Crag.
Just make a habit, have my hands kind of away from my body.
Yeah, so they did ask Crag to leave his armaments at the house. It's up to Crag if he wants to comply with that.
Nope.
Nope, okay. So
So they
before...
will ask us to
If
leave
it
Crag
is,
at the
I
house.
got you covered.
I need to protect him.
Aw, those muscles need some iron to protect the pink squishy things.
I need to pink and squishy.
And you're big.
So before the elderly knight takes you in, because I was just thinking about this, like Crag would be trying to bring a spear in.
And a shield.
You're gonna need to leave those out here.
Then we don't go in.
She outranks us. We gotta have to.
I'm really sitting there just debating.
Big Master Orc, what are you so afraid of? You're just so big and strong. Hmm?
That's why you're chosen.
So I noticed that Pocket generally listens to authority, whereas Crag generally does not.
No, I listen. Just in
Oh.
a different way.
We don't really have a choice.
I really don't have a choice. So I set it down.
That's a good green skill.
Okay, I notice these things.
May I ask real fast?
Does it only happen with Pocket?
What your name
or
is?
Does it happen with other people?
What?
Where
Dame
like, if they tell you to
Elrea.
do something, you finally do
The
it.
crown.
Pleasure
The
to meet you.
hierarchy of the crown.
Yeah.
Oh, the pleasure is...
Okay. I figure I would kind of get the gist of things over a month and
So,
a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
are you a classy whore?
No, I haven't practiced that yet.
I like how you're open to it. Right.
Life is long.
Life is long, sure.
Ah. Yes.
Right, so follow me.
May I ask your name, mademoiselle? Yeah, ask your name.
Yeah, yes.
So-
Again, I'm old and I don't like repeating myself. Dame Edorea.
Dame Edorea.
of the Crown Guard.
It is an honor to make your acquaintance.
But there's no wine in this city, and it's almost noon, so let's get on with this.
We'll follow them.
Yes.
So she takes you through, like the antechamber, which is a large arching hallway, up some stairs, and then it gets really labyrinthine. You're able to, Pocket is able to still kind of keep track of the inner workings of this, but it kind of reminds you of like times that you've kicked over an anthill and you see all these like little cavities that seem to just intertwine. It kind of reminds you of that, how densely populated this chunk of stone is with passageways and rooms and everything. Until
How these humans get anything done?
They don't.
They don't.
until
One's drunk.
you're led into one room that has a table and chairs, and Edorea bathes you. Wait here. The Viceroy has a few more appointments, and then it will be your turn.
That's why their city's probably burned.
So, unless you have any questions for her, she's going to leave.
I'm looking around this room, seeing if there's anything.
There's a window.
Oh, I'm looking out the window.
Okay, you...
How far down? Where are we?
It looks like it's more of a narrow slit. It looks like you're about halfway up the wall. You're on the riverside.
Okay.
But at the bottom of the wall, it goes downhill into the bank of the river. So if one were to fall off the wall, you wouldn't just hit the ground, you would hit the ground and roll into the river. Aside from that, you are left to wait. Maybe 10 minutes later, a servant shows up with some bread. It's not... This is barely edible for Aerith, this bread. I'm not sure how Crag would find this bread. Bread is not really a big staple of Orc diet. It's usually meat, so I guess this would be boring for Crag.
I'll pull out a turkey leg.
Okay, you pull out a turkey leg.
And I'll grab a pickle and squeeze over the top of it for a little flavor.
Okay. This is different from the bread that Pocket is used to, because ever since you came into the human lands, all the bread is different because they use a different flour. For Leone, this is austere bread. This is not like, that's a nice bakery, or this is made with love by mom. This is just like, we need to crank out as much bread with as little material and time prep as possible because we need to feed soldiers. So this is almost tack.
There's a possibility there's sawdust in that.
You can actually get up to about 15% sawdust before someone notices.
Well, that's how they get to like 20. Yeah.
It's factuality in that.
I believe you. I make no comment on the sawdust content.
Same thing for Rice Krispie treats.
Right on. I make no sawdust commentary at this
What are the
time.
humans eating?
Unless you are trying to
Poor
make some kind of
backside.
test. No, we're gonna skip that. Nope. No.
Baking wise?
Yeah, no. Water from the well. No wine, no ale, just bread and water, and Crag is eating the best with his turkey leg. So
Thank you. We appreciate it very much.
the servant bows and leaves unless there's any interaction that you want.
failing.
Otherwise, it will be another hour before Edorea ducks in again and says, come on your feet.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
This is what we
I'll leave
sent
my-
here to do.
Turkey bone on the couch.
Okay. Okay.
Just grabs.
Just throw it there. Clang. Clatter.
Yeah, what do I care?
Okay. So
Not my problem.
Edorea takes you back out into the hallway. All of her guards are still there. And she pauses before a wooden double door, a large, important looking wooden double door. I don't know what you know about the prince, but his sister is not like they're not alike in some ways. You really need to call her Your Grace or Viceroy or some kind of. She's not. The prince is very relaxed, and Her Grace is not. So just remember that.
Well, I appreciate the heads up.
Yeah. You owe me wine when you find it. So, she opens the door and announces you, Your Grace, Master Leone and company. And she gestures into the chamber for you to enter, and it's a large, great hall. There is a U shape of tables that you might think would normally be for feasting, but they're spread out with maps and books and ledgers, and there are soldiers and clerks moving around and updating them. You see two women. One of them is standing, leaning over the tables, and she's in conversation with another woman that is sitting at that same table, and one of them's pointing at one of the maps on the table. The one that's standing, they both look over when Edorea announces you. The one that's standing straightens up. The one that's sitting doesn't seem interested in you, just kind of puts her fist, rests her face on her fist and is squinting at the map. The woman that was standing, she walks over, she walks up a dais that's behind the U shape, and she sits on the throne that kind of dominates the room and overlooks it. And she puts one leg up. All of them have this kind of, with the exception of clearly the servants, all of them have this kind of martial look about them. They're usually wearing either surcoats or gamisons. They have some kind of weapon belted on them. This is very much a feel of people that are still thinking that they're at war.
I would like to make the proper introduction that I would normally otherwise use when in the company of a good lady.
Okay.
Hey, take a knee.
With that etiquette roll that you're about to
Yeah.
make. Yeah.
I was about to also suggest
I'll
a ticket roll.
take a knee. I'll go down one knee.
Okay.
And I'm pulling Crag down with me.
Okay.
It makes them
He has
feel more
etiquette.
comfortable.
Nope.
That's their problem.
Can I assist you?
But I need it, that's for sure.
How did you assist?
So, we had a solid 10 minutes in the waiting room.
Okay.
And I think during that time, I'm just almost musing aloud. Now, how the fuck do we introduce ourselves to a
See the
Her
lady on the
Grace
chair?
Viceroy?
That's their great one.
Okay. Okay.
A bow?
So.
I would think.
Yeah.
Okay.
But how deep?
Good for her.
I'm in front of the stomach
You
behind.
have to listen.
So I'm gonna set this
One in
at
front of one.
One list.
obstacle 3 for etiquette for a ducal lord.
So take 2 helper dice.
So, but that's if you have the skill. So that's an obstacle 6 for will or perception, since etiquette does both.
I get to re-roll one of these dice.
Need to borrow one?
No, just re-roll one. That's not good.
You and etiquette. You and etiquette. What is with you and etiquette? Leone, pissing off women left and right.
I have one success. I have 2 perception successes.
Okay.
I have 2 will successes.
Okay. So 1 out of 3.
So, if I may suggest,
Sure.
instead of a catastrophic failure, we all take a different bow that are all grossly inappropriate for the
I
setting.
don't bow at all.
See, that would be
Okay.
a non-bow that is grossly inappropriate.
So you're still standing and Pocket's trying to pull you down and you're just not moving.
Whose knee do I take? That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, Tiffany, he's like,
Whose?
I'm going at the waist, the left arm in front of the stomach, right arm behind the back,
Uh-huh.
and Leon is whatever else.
I'm tensing up looking for a knee that I'm supposed to be taking.
Okay.
Living.
Do you remember in Cinderella when the Archduke is looking for the owner of the glass slipper at the end and he's talking to the 2
No, Viceroyness.
evil stepsisters, and one of the stepsisters says, "Yeah, Grace." It's kind of like that. You're trying to be classy, but
Drusilla
you
and
reveal
Anastasia.
just how unclassy you are in the attempt. Oh yeah, you got something?
No,
No.
it does not for me.
Okay.
So I was supposed to be nice people, but now you want me to take their knees? I don't get it.
yes.
Make up your mind.
I say take a knee. I mean, get down on one knee.
So Velthuria looks put upon by your presence.
Oh yeah.
And let me see if I have any kind of physical description of her, aside from looking to be 29 years old.
I think I set my turkey leg down earlier.
You did set your turkey leg down.
Because otherwise I've been still eating it. Had been worse yet.
This is their chieftain.
Not my chieftain.
Yes. Actually, it is.
Not my chieftain.
I don't know these people.
Oh dear.
She is the crown.
So.
And I don't know that as of yet.
I'm telling you, she is the crown.
Like a lot of people where Leon is from, there's a lot of mixed blood between Eklendin humans and Marin humans. So the Marins tend to have a narrow nose and the Eklendins tend to have a narrow jaw. She looks like she's tall. Well, yeah, and you saw when she stood and walked, she is tall. Which is decidedly more Eklendin. She's got these really blue eyes, and she has her brown hair bound back behind her head. It's very functional. And she's looking put upon by your presentation. To what do I owe this honor?
I don't know if I would call it much honor,
Then what do I owe this dishonor?
Viceroy. But we have been sent to you from Julian Penrow.
You have paper.
I have a paper, but it is not his. And I give you the forged paper.
Give me the forged paper,
Yes.
and you tell me it's a forgery.
I do. We had to get here somehow, and unfortunately he did not provide us documents.
At least you told me that. Did he
As
tell
for
you what that you were here for?
did not specifically tell us what we are here for. However, he did say that we were to go to Soorin and present ourselves to your ladyship, and that you would have orders for us. I assume that we can be used in many ways, but you may have an idea of what we are to be used for, since we are coming from the Ministry of Magic.
That you are. I've heard of this, Julian. I have not had the pleasure myself.
It was brief on my account as well.
Tell me, what did you notice? What did you see as you came in the walls to this great city? Are you saying that out loud?
That you have had a
I'll
harder
whisper
time.
it loud enough for her to hear offhandedly, but death.
Okay, death.
So
there.
right in the middle of, as you have had a harder time than most. I could start to surmise what happened outside, but I'm sure that experiencing it would pale and make my comparison pale. Looks like that you are upon hard times and trying to rebuild, but it is a long road.
So I think Pocket and or Crag can make whatever wise test that you would like to have an idea for knowing your own people what might have caused this.
So I have Orcish wise.
That'll work.
With Black Legion wise.
That'll work as well. You can fork one into the other.
Yep. Two successes.
Okay, so you get an interesting fact, and Pocket's gonna give me a roll.
Was that difficulty level?
So, that will give you an obstacle 2. So, if you're rolling 3 dice total,
Yep.
let's see. I think that's difficult.
I really don't have any vices.
You can make a perception test.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Routine?
Routine.
It's a routine test.
I'll take it.
Routine tests are really hard to come by, especially if you only have like 1 or 2 dice.
2
Yeah.
successes.
2. Okay, so you both get interesting facts. Okay, so with the amount of carnage that you saw coming in, the people that were trying to stay probably just died. But knowing each of your respective peoples, a lot of the city population would have been depopulated from the city. They either were taken as slaves and moved off to be sold or put into work, or they switched sides. And there are humans that are marching alongside hobgoblins and orcs in their own units. But where that leaves the Viceroy is she's got a city to guard with no people in it. So, but that's all going on inside your head. Choose to do with it as you will while she's talking with Leone. Yes, reconstruction takes a while. So I have a few problems. I have a city that is supposed to be generating resources, and it can't because there are no people in the city. I have a city that sits upon a river that is to benefit from the mines and quarries that come from upstream in Ardara. The enemy holds Ardara. So the livelihood of Soorin is being strangled, even if there were people in it. And if there were people in it, I would need a way of feeding them. And once I get people in the city, I need a way to protect them. The soldiers that you see here are not supposed to be the ones that stay here. This regiment is needed elsewhere, but it took enough casualties and it fought hard enough that it is best serving His Grace the Prince by being here and protecting what's left of Soorin while the rest march north. So I need people, I need security, I need to know what the enemy is doing in Ardara. Those are the things that I need.
Sounds like breeding season as well.
He's saying that out loud.
Do I hear
I
this?
just grunt.
I probably made some crude comment to him.
I have
Are
something
you-
in here about that.
Quiet enough that his orc hearing could hear.
So you're making it quiet enough that he can hear,
Yeah.
but not that she can hear.
No!
Are you saying it in orc?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Baby, ha 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 ha.
What's going on?
Okay, so you're gonna test inconspicuous, which is based in will.
This is going great.
I
Yeah.
have inconspicuous. I have a single dice in inconspicuous.
Wow.
I have one dice. That's it.
Make your roll.
Nope, didn't make it.
Okay, so I'm rolling perception, not observation, but I have a half success, and you have none?
I got rolled a 2.
Well, okay. Would you care to share your fun comment with everyone else? Sorry, your name? Does your pet have a name?
I cannot claim her as my pet.
I am Pocket, great one.
Pocket. Would you care to share your comment?
It was just commenting that the probably the easiest way to repopulate your city may be to get very familiar with the opposite sex and take sport with them.
You know, that's not an incredibly bad plan, except for the part that it takes 15 to 20 years for those children to grow up. And I'm really hoping to free up this regiment within a year. So unless you can breed that fast,
I glance at him.
Well,
Thought there was something on here on the orcs.
If you, my lady, would care to get more familiar with a gentleman such as himself, that time could be shortened by several seasons.
her dark humor aside,
I do have a character trait called breeder.
yeah, I know.
That's what I was looking
That's
for.
why I looked at him.
That's why I grunted
glanced.
when she said I'm the smart. Like,
and the comparison to rabbits. I don't
Anyways.
believe.
People first. So, what I need you to do is find out where at least some of the people that used to live here have gone. I believe that some of them are hiding nearby. And she points over to the map that she was just conferring over with the other woman who is still sitting there looking at it. Excuse me. Velthuria pushes up from the throne and gets up. Come and see. And so she walks you over to the map and she points to the forested areas. So here we are in Soorin. I doubt that they're in the wood along the Pellic, but the west and the southwest wood, perhaps in the swamps to the south, I wager people have been evading the enemy for some time, and they might simply not be aware
That the war is over.
well, the war is not over by any means,
But
but
conflict here has slowed down.
that it is safer to come back than it is to stay out there. We also have reason to believe that while we did beat the Orcs here and send them out of the city, they didn't necessarily all go back to the mountains. So there may be some lurking in the wood as well. No. So I want you to find some people and bring them back into the walls. I want to turn this place back into a place that can sustain itself again. Once we have a bit of that, we are going to need to work more on security. There are some noble families that once lived within these walls that we believe still have a few surviving members. They may be hiding in the wood. I have heard tell that at least one family went to, that two families went far south into northern Eklenda, that perhaps you would be able to bring them back, that they can bring some of their own trained soldiery, and they can bring their fortunes back into Soorin. That would be greatly assisting.
Eklenda being to our south.
Yeah.
Given my knowledge about how far south is that from our current position,
That's almost another 2 months on the road.
northern Eklenda or
And she points to a city in northern Eklenda, which is off the map.
Kita?
Akita is another city-state
Okay.
in Gersh, actually. So she points to a city on the other side of the next further south river, Churaden.
May have those nobles.
Some of them. If you think that bringing them back first would be more helpful, then you're welcome to try them first. I can give you the names of the families.
I mean, getting the names of the families won't hurt anything, but what's the point of having people here if you can't feed them?
Perhaps the nobles coming from a stable part of civilization could come with delivery deals for food.
I don't think it is that stable down there. They left here for there.
More stable than the city.
Is Soorin surrounded by farmland, or...?
Yep.
I am no strategic mastermind. We might help find some people near here sooner than later, yes?
I do have some questions on that subject. For the storyteller.
Out of game or in game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of game or in game?
Out of
Yes.
game?
Out of game.
Yes.
Okay. Out of game?
Have, in general, elven education, does that include the greater geography of the land? So if I wanted to make a ancient lore test, or rather, could I fork that into a geography test?
Yes and yes.
Okay. I wanted to make some sort of test regarding the two portions of woodland to the west and southwest.
Okay. Also, answer to Leon's question, there is a lot of farmland around.
Has it been burned or is it otherwise planted?
Further outside of the, well, neither. It's a bit derelict.
So I'd kind of like to figure out, of those two possibilities, which region is more hostile and less, campable. Like, is this just marsh, or could you have a good time camping there?
Okay.
And then we'll get to,
You here for a good time or you here for a long time?
The elf wants to breed.
you know what I mean, right?
I know what you mean.
Would
The
that,
elf is submissive.
would that just be ancient lore, or could I do or should I do geography wise and fork
I
in
think
ancient lore?
geography-wise.
And fork in ancient lore?
We can go with it. All right. So you can do basically.
So basically, I'm using knowledge of outdated maps, or rather, possibly outdated maps, to guess the region.
Yep. Go ahead and give me a roll,
Okay.
and you're gonna get something.
Oh, hell yeah. 5 on perception.
On perception. What you would get with that, in general, that there are some marshes, but they're largely restricted to the river areas. Sometimes there's just a small pond nearby the river, and there's some marshes around the pond. Particularly around Soorin, there's a lot of marshlands because of the junction of the three rivers. Once you get into the forest in the southwest, there are a lot of streams, or there would be a lot of streams, so it would be rather easy to find a place to live, especially since as you look at the map more and more, there would be some streams, smaller streams, that come off of the rivers and connect with the lake in a different way. These are probably going to be intermittent streams, so camps might have to move throughout the seasons. Going to the east, living gets increasingly harsh as you move up into the hills and the mountains. It's doable, and in some cases, when you find a stream, it's more consistent.
So,
But it gets colder. The winters are going to be more severe as you go higher in elevation. And these orcs did come from somewhere. Usually in the mountains. Same thing with the goblins.
and what of the forest directly to the west? Does that have less streams?
Now, there are going to be streams in both of the forests to the west and the south.
So they're functionally very similar.
Yes.
Fuck. It doesn't narrow things down.
Well, in some ways it does narrow it down, because if you look back at your map of Soorin, you passed by the West Wood, and you crossed the River Pellic at the town Garban.
Mm-hmm.
The bridge there, you noticed, was newly rebuilt. And then you haven't been over them, but there are other bridges that you can get over and get to those other woods. But Velthuria is basically asking you, we think there are people and some nobles hiding in the woods, and we think there may be some more orcs hiding in the woods with them.
To the west it is.
Very well.
I reason we could go to the west and send anyone else back the way we came. Unless we send anyone who doesn't have protection back this way and take anyone of fighting. Well, we could probably send anyone of fighting it back to.
And presumably, if these people have been surviving, least a couple are of fighting functionality. So
So,
people escaped, you said, to the swamps. Do you mean the marshes that are south of the city?
are you asking in or out of game?
Oh.
Out of game. Because she said swamps.
She did say swamps. What she's mainly talking about is the woods to the west and the southwest.
Yeah, because like basically what I was under the impression was we can search this area, we can search this area, or we can go south for another month and whatever and find the nobilities way down here yonder.
I'd rather just search the closest so that you
Head
get
out to the woods.
workers before you get
Generals.
generals.
It does look like the fields
It's a
have been
360
abandoned.
day year.
Right.
So-
Like, let's get the workers before we get the generals. We've got people in charge already here. We have lack of workers.
Right, well, I'm assuming that you do not have much in the way to spare, Viceroy, for any people that we might come into contact.
Spare, like, foodstuffs.
Mainly, yes. If we are talking about villagers
We have
out
this-
in the woods, then possibly rudimentary arms may be appropriate as well.
So arms are actually one of the few problems that we don't have. You may have heard, but there was a great battle here, and a great many people on both sides died. Their weapons did not. You can surmise that there
there was a great battle here.
Oh, I
People
can
died
surmise,
on both
but you know, it's like it's one of those like as you might have heard, as you sit in the middle of like hell. Hell exists.
Okay.
Like, did I hear this before? Like, did I actually hear about the battle before?
Give me a wise test, or some other test that you would have heard about it or know about it.
Is Yvel otherwise supplied by Soorin? Is there any exports out of Soorin?
The exports were primarily stone and ore.
Did they cease at that last battle? Basically. Or was the supply cut off before that last
Beforehand, because the Orcs had seized Soorin a year or two beforehand. So Yvel seized Soorin,
Okay,
liberated
so
Soorin.
supplier-wise may not be the best check for that. To see if that... Okay. We're just gonna go with the great old perception then?
Sure, perception.
I don't know what wise that would be. Battle-wise? Rumor-wise?
In this case, we'll give you War of the Mountains wise.
War at the Mountains wise. Hot diggity daffodil. That's a 2 or a 1 in this
One
case.
success.
Well, 2 successes for perception.
Okay. So you have heard that this was the second battle of Soorin. The first battle of Soorin was when Soorin was captured
Okay.
by orcs and goblins and hobgoblins. And so the orcs from Soorin came north and they seized Keppa, and that was the first battle of Keppa. And then this year, when Yvel itself was under siege from orcs that came from the north, and Serna was under siege from orcs that came from Keppa and from Soorin.
All right.
Yeah. So then
Yes.
after the enemy lost those battles, that's when the second battle of Keppa was to liberate Keppa, and the second battle of Soorin to liberate Soorin.
And did most of the forces from those battles come from Yvel or come from the west?
So
By the forces here, I would assume Yvel.
I'm gonna let this this one success on a wise ride. That, as far as you understand it, the entire army came out of Yvel and its people.
Okay.
Now, its people extends out to Soorin, to Kepa, to Relang, to Mernin, etc.
So, Yvel is...
It's a city-state. So
Okay.
it's a princely
So
city.
Soorin was another city-state
Yes.
until it was overthrown.
Yes.
Okay, so Versingit is still a standing city-state, and Vidara is
Controlled
also...
by the enemy.
Controlled by the enemy.
Versingit has fallen as well.
Versingit has fallen, but what about Vidara?
Vidara is not.
Okay,
Where's that?
over here.
Oh.
Probably safe, that's why I'm concerned. Okay, thank you.
There are a total of 13 city-states in Gersh.
Yes. Princely cities. in other
Princely
words.
cities,
Okay,
yes.
just, okay. Very well. So, arms are not an issue.
Arms are not so much of an issue. Some of them may be a bit awkward in their size, depending on who was holding them.
Understood, but something is better than nothing if we're
Something
going to
is
be
better than
sending
nothing.
them back here.
What we sorely lack, and I may at a later time send you over to Keita to find more craftspeople and convince them to come here, because an orc spear has a very thick shaft that is unwieldy for human hands, but the spearhead's still good. It just needs to be on a resized shaft.
And in terms of foodstuffs, you are...
We have a steady supply of assistance from Yvel on the North Road. As we get more people, we will need more foodstuffs, and then those supply lines will be vulnerable with more traffic on them.
Yes.
For the time being, it is not a factor. I should also give you the names of the houses that we believe still to have some living members.
Go. I assumed that we would take care of the notes and paperwork forthright after we decide a plan of action.
What do you mean?
I'm assuming that she's going... I figured we would talk about your... any documents that you see fit.
You would like a writ?
Yes, please. So that we may have less issue conversing with the noble houses that we seek, and or just the townspeople.
So be it. Very well. A writ you shall have. So the houses of Soorin, I will list for you, and she lists them out. So I'll. There we go. So
Thank you.
anyone can copy those over. So you have the names of the houses of Soorin, and you are embarking for the...
What are we embarking for?
The woods.
the Westwood?
The Westwood or the Southwestwood? What's your opinion?
Would these woods be cart friendly? Probably not.
They're not
Probably
roaded.
not. At least in some areas, yes. You could give me a test like orienteering to find your way, or
I have orienteering.
some
I
other
can help you.
test like driving in difficult terrain, perhaps. Let's
I
see.
probably wouldn't want to leave my wagon behind anyway, just in case I'm bringing it to Liverpool. We're getting tests. Let's go. The Westwood should be fine. I don't really know my way around there or the Southwood at all.
We'll find our way. I hope it's not too dangerous or filled with orcs and boars.
Oh my.
I am more
I
of a
guess-
city person, if you may.
Well, so am I, but
I have
Always
orienteering
open
and
to new
tracking. I
things.
try to see if I can find signs of civilization.
Ah, that might be quite interesting. Okay.
so
The only thing is somebody doesn't want to leave the road. There is
am-
no road.
I did not say we cannot leave the road.
All right, so a linked test, I think, as you guys come out of the north gate and cross the Pellic at Garaban.
Yep.
And so it seems like you're traveling into the woods, so that sounds like a traveling test, and then some kind of tracking tests.
Tracking.
So I think nearby,
I would say so.
countryside.
For now, until woods.
Well, there's no woods.
Okay,
So it's,
countryside it is.
it's either countryside, hills, or swamp are all +3 OB.
Alright, yeah, countryside it is.
Time. How urgent do you want to do this?
We are,
Before the year's end?
we're not super fast.
So you'll get there when you get
We'll
there?
get there when we get there, because we have no other direction than into the woods.
Okay.
So we're taking it, at a medium pace.
Okay. So that sounds like driving. So
Can I assist him with orienteering?
a +1 die for your cart. Yes, you can. You can help too if you want.
Oh, that's driven, not driving. One second, what?
Driven's a trait.
Tracking and orienteering?
That's the next test.
Oh, okay. This one would be perception.
I went to traits again, I
So
swear.
I think this will be a OB3 test, or maybe an OB4, because the different printing versions will say either +1 or +0 obstacle for nearby. So
+0.
here says +0, so we'll go with +0. So that's an OB3 driving test with 2 helper dice.
Oh,
And don't forget, you get the +1 for your cart and mules.
do I get a +1 for cart mules?
So on 533, if you have a riding horse, it's +1 die. I'm taking this as an equivalent.
Ah, okay. Yep, that would make sense, because, they're trained beasts that otherwise listen to me, generally.
Yep.
Well, them bones.
That's a 4.
That's a 4. Okay, so then your test gets a bonus die of 1.
Okay.
So what are you trying to find,
So
and
that was
how are you
OB2?
trying to find it?
OB3.
Signs of like civilization, hunting parties, people wearing shoes.
Okay, so you're looking for tracks of people with shoes, signs of hunting, signs of maybe they've settled.
Right, life, tents, some
Old
type
fires.
civilization of some kind,
Okay,
or people of some kind.
okay. I'll tell you what, so we'll make that'll be a tracking test to find signs of hunting, foot tracks, shod feet, things like that. After that, we will also make an observation test or a perception test for seeing like smoke plumes from cook fires, or smelling the sounds of people being settled in an area. So let me first get you that obstacle. So I'm going to set this as following fresh tracks on hard earth, obstacle 3.
Okay. So I have 1 dice from him,
Okay,
right?
yep.
And I have 1 dice in tracking. One success.
1. Okay. So describe to me how this is going about. So the 2 of them are driving the cart.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Crag in this? Is Crag riding in the cart? Is Crag walking around the cart somewhere?
I can be walking around the cart.
Okay. Front, back, side.
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 I'm going to be off to the side, but where I can still have visual of the cart.
Okay, you're gonna have to be at least a little bit in front to track.
Track, yeah. I don't want them to lose complete sight of me, but I'm going to be a ways.
Okay.
Point of note.
Yeah.
Since we're getting out of the nice and cozy city and out into the turgid countryside with a mighty evil orcs. Or possibly not evil orcs. I'm going to be in armor.
You're going to be in armor. Okay.
The cook has armor?
Yes. Do you not?
Yeah, it's like what I wear all the time.
I assume he would have seen you carrying this armor around the entire time.
I've got a spear and a shield too.
So a cook, a merchant, a berserker, and a mercenary go in the woods. Two come out. Give you a guess which two.
The donkeys?
Blackjack and biscuit.
They're going to survive the entire campaign.
They got this.
You find goblin tracks.
Okay. That's a little bit more manageable.
A lot of them.
Are they like going the direction that we're going, or are they?
So you're not going a particular direction because you're looking for tracks.
Yeah.
So you were going into the woods to try and find tracks. They seem to be hunting. They do show signs that you recognize as hunting. There will be a big area of crushed brush where whatever they were hunting fell. You'll see drag marks where they dragged it off. You see every now and then a piece of bone or what have you that was left behind from when they field dressed the animal. They might have left some pieces behind or cleaned it out, like we don't want the intestines or whatever. So there are signs like that, and you can tell where they broke the animal up, so it would be easier for them to haul. But that's about all you can get at this point.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
I'll go back and let everybody know,
Okay.
and maybe just mention it. Say there's a party around here somewhere.
How old are the tracks?
How did they?
You would pin some of those tracks as recent as yesterday.
And they have short legs, so they probably didn't travel far, especially with several pounds of meat.
Going which way?
That way?
Deeper into the woods.
Yeah. That way.
The same way we're going, or?
Well, are we going to follow them?
Well, yeah, we were heading that way, and they were that way.
I think that might be a couple too many goblins for the two of you to handle. 3 of you, I guess.
But assuming they're hostile.
They're goblins.
I can try maybe going to talk to them.
To be
To be fair,
curt, we did just come from a training ground in which goblins and humans were freely interbreeding, and if I understand
just
things
came from a
correctly,
city that got wrecked.
and which goblins defended.
I'm just kind of listening to this conversation, like,
Yes, hello.
hi,
Would you like to elucidate us?
you kind of remember what color our skin is, right?
You're very green.
Yep.
Very orcish.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Not very goblin colored.
What are you getting at here?
That they're not everybody with a different color skin than you guys is psychotic brutes.
I understand this. I'm not saying that they are.
I'm defending them.
So maybe you can talk to them, give them some kind of peace offering, ask them. They do communicate. Where maybe humans are.
Did the tracks tell you that they were friendly?
No, but it tells me they've eaten. So this looks less appealing.
That's a very good point. If you want to follow them, that's okay with you.
The question is, do we drag you guys along, or do I go off on my own, try to find these guys, and you protect the cart?
Aren't you a negotiator? Leone?
Because I'm not sure how good I talk.
Not when it comes to goblins, I'm not a negotiator. I don't think I'm built for it, I'm sorry.
I am feeling optimistic about our chances with goblins.
Very
I
well.
believe if we approach them kindly and diplomatically, they will not stone you to death and cook you over a fire.
Right.
I hope you taste good.
As I said, hopefully Pocket can
You either talk to
be
them,
our
or you smash your brains.
ambassador at
That's
least.
how this works.
Yes. Generally, I would just be more comfortable engaging with a smaller party, regardless of what race they are.
I tell
So
you
you
right now,
prefer
you
5 goblins to 50?
much rather
Yes.
prefer goblins to orcs.
I agree
Any day of the
completely.
week.
I would also prefer 5 goblins. 5 orcs instead of 50 orcs. So, this is simply a number game, and if they decide to eat us, they will probably succeed. But if
There's
you'd like to
wisdom in your
follow them
words.
and try to approach them, I will be.
So if I can tell these goblins when they eat you, do you taste better with salt and pepper? Or garlic and herbs?
You probably caught a couple words of orc in that.
Yeah, at this point. I just look at him. Like,
He's more likely to eat you than the goblins are.
If I'm hungry.
So
You just won't tell them that.
if the two of you want to do some instruction tests for you teaching, for Pocket teaching Leon the Cogular dialect of Goblin, if that's something that if you want to retcon that from your month and a half on the road, it looks like
language is a will thing, right?
yes. I think. Let's see. Foreign language. Perception. I beg your pardon.
Oh, it depends. I would probably let you try to teach me some more Orcish, or I would teach you
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
more Clendon. Let's say I would want you in my good graces, and you might not be the best teacher, so I'll instruct
not?
you on a Clendon for the time being.
Okay.
It's a good test of my willpower, literally. Trying to beat a Clendon into an orc.
One way or the other.
One way or another. You're very smart this time. We have 4 successes.
You could probably do that in 11 days instead of 12. Whoop.
Very well.
Alright, so how many tests do I need to learn in Clendon?
What is your perception?
3.
7.
Alright, so far I've got
2.
2.
You're almost there already.
Boom. Right on. Okay, so, what are you guys wanting to do? Signs of goblin activity.
I think he needs to stay with the cart. They need to travel some distance behind me, and I stealth and try to find this
Okay.
group, this
Okay.
family, tribe,
Okay.
clan.
So, up to you whether you want to give me a linked test or a simple test. A linked test of tracking them, and then any bonuses after that for a stealthy test, or you can just give me a stealthy test and fork in tracking and anything else that you're thinking about.
I'll do a stealthy test and fork in the tracking.
Okay, anything else you want to fork in?
Probably inconspicuous.
That's kind of covered in stealth. Inconspicuous is like when you're in a crowd and you just want to be unnoticeable.
Survival, climbing.
Let's see. How does survival apply? Like, I think it applies. How are you intending it to apply?
She doesn't
pretty
step
much
on that
not,
twig.
go into that quicksand that seems to be in every fantasy RPG. Knowing things not to touch, watching my step, thorny bushes,
Okay.
not sticking weird things in my mouth.
Okay, forest common sense. Got it. Maybe like an idea of where they might shelter?
Yeah, probably some overhang. Is there any kind of caves or rock face, or are they more likely to go for like an open area or a cluster of trees? What's the weather like? Are they on a fire?
Okay. Okay. I'll let you take survival.
Okay,
Do you have observation?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, there's your die pool. Sounds like stealthy tracking, observation, or survival.
Okay. I got 4 successes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if they spot you.
This is gonna go so well.
It's gonna go great.
Potentially.
That'll work for us.
Leone might get another driving test.
I might get my first, second spear test.
Okay. You got how many successes? 4.
I do have 1 6 that I could open, but
Okay. So you get the impression from the last time that you were in Cogular, the great city in the pit, that they like spaces where they can utilize the underground. So they're going to drift towards ravines, rocky outcroppings, stuff like that. And so where you get a ravine, it's usually because there was water. So you pick up a stream and you follow it for a few hours, and you start to see some more of these tracks, a lot of tracks. And so you're getting the impression that there are several hunting paths that are converging into a space until you see the edge of a drop off. And so you get down low and you crawl up to the edge and you peer into this gorge, and there are dozens and dozens of cubby holes dug into the side, and you see
it's like crawdads.
several hundred goblins camped out in this gorge. You do see some humans too. You get the very strong impression that they're slaves. You do see a couple orc slaves as well. And these people are just eking out a living. They're tanning hides, they're cleaning meat, they have salvaged some of their cookery, so there's a few iron pots cooking stews, and there are baskets of foraged herbs and berries. They're making an industry of this. And it occurs to you that goblins aren't dumb, and it's actually quite unusual that you are allowed to get this close undetected. And so you get this prickling just under your ears, and you look to your right and you look to your left, and about 20 to 40 paces each way, like, there's a sentry. There's a sentry.
They tracked me in.
No.
No.
They don't see you.
Nice.
Or at least it appears they don't see you.
I might want to hunker down until maybe I can get some kind of view of the Great One to see if I can get a good bead on what their great one looks like.
Okay, you're gonna need a perception test. What are you guys doing?
I think I'd like to do an observation test.
Okay,
I'm riding in the car with him.
okay, so
We're hanging out in the woods, out of sight.
you're not following her.
No,
Okay.
the cart is not.
Okay, what are you trying to find in your observation test?
So we have our our orc goblin sticking off. Well, there's a hunting party, and presumably civilization that we're looking for. They might have their own scouts and spies, and I don't want to get a shot.
You don't
in the
want to
ass.
snuck up on. Okay.
That is 3 on observation.
Okay. That's a lot. So we can do this 2 ways. We can say that's a routine test and there's no one trying to sneak up on you. Or I can give you a test that might be worthwhile, but it's going to require me to make a roll.
I do need a routine test, but... You know what? Give me trouble.
Okay. How many dice did you roll?
3? 4.
4.
5. I rolled 5 dice.
So I need to roll 4 dice to give you a difficult test. Actually, I need 4 successes to give you a difficult test.
Roll in bones.
All right. Oh, so close.
Routine?
It's going to be a routine. And you got 4 successes?
I had 3.
You got 3. Well, it seems that you're evenly tied, that they see you right when you see them. There's about...
Oh boy.
Let's see. If I'm hauling back a deer, an adult deer, and I'm 2 feet and 9 inches tall, how many of me is it going to take to haul that deer?
Probably...
Adult deer,
At
300-400
least 5.
pounds.
Alright, so there we go. So you see about 8 goblins with bows that are hauling a deer, and they stop in their tracks about 100 paces out through the brush, just as you're standing up like... And you see them, and they see you.
I'll wave.
You wave. Okay.
I see goblins. Leon.
Where is Crag right now?
I believe he's peeing next to the cart, but...
I'm just leaning back. Well, I got a shield and spear in hand, but I'm kind of leaning against the cart. Because
Okay.
Probably taking a leak on the wagon wheel.
Or that.
But
Crag
you're the only one
goblins.
that sees them, so you get to make a steel test, and so do they.
Oh boy.
I mean, are they hostile? Yeah.
Who knows? I'm good. Unless there's additional obstacles. Probably not for this.
No, but they do drop the deer and run.
Do I see that?
Like
A deer hitting the ground?
You can make a perception test.
Would you hear it in the room?
Probably
Make a
not.
perception test.
Plus,
I do say, hey, there's goblins right there.
I have
Plus one
one.
die.
What?
Plus 1 die for hearing.
Yeah, you do hear the, hey, there's
So
goblins
he
over
doesn't
there.
have the big ears trait because he's a full-blood orc.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
One
But-
success.
You could probably take a keen nose. No, sorry, that's an optional.
And then you hear, there's goblins over there.
Yeah, you don't hear anything. See or hear anything. Okay.
Do they run?
What's your steel test?
Well, I succeed.
You succeed. Okay. Yeah, they run.
Is it in roughly the same direction that we were following Pocket?
They were coming
Or is it kind of like...
towards you from the side. So if Pocket went off that way, they came this way,
Okay.
and then they dropped the deer and went back the way they came.
Okay. The goblins have seen us. They're
Where?
running away.
Where?
Over there.
I look over that.
Where that deer was.
You do see some like brush rustling as people that are shorter than the brush are like crashing through it and going in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm. Do I see a deer?
Yeah, you see a deer.
I'll go pick that up.
Okay.
I guess we get to eat.
You have retrieved the deer.
I may want to keep that as a peace offering in case they come back.
And they might want it. We
Or
still
it's
have
an
more.
offering to their village that
Is it field dressed already?
pockets.
It is field dressed already.
We should save that for them, Crag.
And if it turns
Could
out they
go
won't want
along.
it, we can keep it.
And if it turns out they want to fight you for it, you can probably find more.
Knowing him, he could probably use it as a weapon.
That's a very good point. Can you use this as a weapon?
Sure.
Wonderful.
You get to.
Should we stay here or move?
There
Pocket
might
gets
be
to
a-
make
So,
a perception
did you have
test
a
to see if she can identify who the
with
Great One
Pocket?
is.
Okay.
Where to meet up, how to meet up, if we should pursue her, if we should not, or we wait.
She
And
said
I'm
stay
also
here.
offhandedly
If
maybe
we're not
looking
here when
to
she
see if
comes
I
back,
see
then
any
what?
goblins
I
that are
don't know.
familiar
That's
from
why I'm asking
Cloyula.
you. You know her.
Because I am a mercenary there. I have a reputation.
Okay,
I'm
fine.
from there.
So, first
could
give me
move
your
slightly.
perception test,
She
and
should
then
be
if
able to
you
find the track
really
of
want,
art.
we can do a circles test.
Okay. I have a
We
6.
just
I
move
want to
into
open
some
that up.
cover of over there and watch this.
Yep. That's not a bad idea.
We would like to move off the axis.
Especially if there's a place I don't have to do
That's
that.
very
That's
wise.
for one
So
side.
that's a 3. And that was perception.
3 successes?
Yes, what was the... I rerolled a 6.
So, for the time being, that's just a routine perception test.
Okay.
But it does give you. You almost want to say that it's different tribes that are mixed together, except that tribes don't mix together this closely. Not like this. So, you're not able to identify a single great one. But as you are studying them, you notice that there seem to be divisions within the camp. You can't quite place your finger on it, but seem to be some clusters that are spaced just a little bit further away from others. It seems to form a seam, but you lose track of it every time you try and trace it. So there's that. If you want to know somebody in this camp, we can do a circles test.
Yeah, why not? I was a mercenary.
Okay, so, and we get to come up with the circles exponent.
I mean, I spent most of my time in that town, so before all this war and shenanigans broke out.
All right, so what kind of goblin are you trying to know? Any particular kind?
Just anybody who looks familiar, anybody I might have done a job with or for.
Okay, so other warriors of some
Yeah.
type. Okay, so that stays at an obstacle 1. They are goblins, and so, well, you can kind of argue, well, it's not so much a higher, lower class, they're not you.
Yeah.
So that's going to make it an obstacle 2. Any particular disposition or character knowledge? Just you want to know them, that's all.
Yeah, that like if I had to approach somebody and talk to them, they're like, "Oh, hey, you, I know
Okay.
you."
Yeah, okay, so we'll stay with obstacle 2. Now the time and the place is where it gets tricky because it seems that it's right here, right now, in the middle of trouble, and that takes that 2 to a 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Get that test.
And so, just so you know, if you fail the test, they'll know you.
Badly.
But it's going to be under a complication. You don't have to take the test. But you don't have to not take the test.
What am I rolling for this?
Circles.
Circles. I just have a B1 in circles.
And then you've got a reputation, you said.
Yep. So that's 2. Great. There's no way I can make this.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to.
There is perhaps another... There are other ways that you can do it. Because the right here, right now is basically knowing somebody...
Within
as-
eyesight.
Yeah, within eyesight. If you want to lower it to unusual for this character, or it doesn't really matter. Basically, if you want to have some time to mingle among them first, you're going to have to persuade your way into the camp.
Oh, because I'm so great at that.
Yes.
It's an option.
I'm actually going to back up, circle around, and see if I can find a sentry that's maybe a little bit farther away from the rest.
Okay, because...
Oh dear.
Like, you can, sure.
Yeah. I might try to engage them in conversation.
Okay. You find a sentry. Do you want to jump scare him? Do you want to...
Nope, no jump scare.
Okay.
Walking up like I belong there, like I'm,
Okay. So, he gets this really perplexed...
oh there.
Hi, what are you doing here?
Seeing if I can find some food. Want an apple?
Roll persuasion.
Want persuasion. What do I do instead of persuasion?
Will.
Will? Okay, why not? Ooh, okay. 2 plus 6. I can open the 6.
Okay, just bear in mind, it's double obstacle penalty because it's a skill versus a stat, and so, or I'm sorry, a stat versus a skill. His will would be either 3 or 4 probably, so we need either 6 or 8 successes. Just understand that.
But if you want to put a fate into it, that's a way to get it done.
It is a way to get it done.
Yeah, I'm gonna put fate into
Okay.
my will.
If you can give me 6 successes, you can probably talk your way past him.
I'm not, but okay.
We believe in you.
I got 2 successes.
Okay. No. But that is probably a challenging test for your will.
Awesome.
No. Go back to your tribe and get your own food.
I was giving you food. I was giving you an apple.
Yeah. Where were you and your tall people? Where were you? You're a half-breed.
Yes, I am.
Well, whichever one of them took you go back to them. Where were they?
We were on the far outside.
And how'd that work out? We're living in a ditch now.
Obviously, I'm by my.
Off with you. I'll shoot you if you come close.
Just by chance, could you just answer one thing for me?
Will you go away afterwards?
Absolutely.
What?
How is it working with so many different families here?
What do you mean? We get by? Like, what do you mean?
Well, I mean,
We lost our home.
usually great ones don't work exactly well together. You know, they're great ones. They're named and awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
you don't know. This is the Kurazor. We haven't picked a new great one yet.
oh, did you lose them in the...
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're not. If you were, you would have been there.
I mean...
No, don't talk your way out of it. No.
So... Told you I'd go?
Yeah,
I'm going.
yeah. Don't come back.
I'm just gonna get out of you and try and come back around. That one guy didn't work out.
Nope, sure didn't.
But there are others.
There are others.
Eventually she'll find one.
How about we call it there?
What, you don't want to start a fight?
Do you want to start a fight?
No.
The goblin could tell I was a half-breed.
I was just
Oh
cueing,
no!
cueing
I mean, it's
Jade
obvious
trying
to
talk
goblins,
to
yes.
5 more
Humans, not so
centuries.
much.
So she develops a circle here. That's her in.
Yeah. I like it though.
I mean, it was a good attempt.
I mean, I have intimidation.
Okay. Well, no. So we
That's like
pick
it.
up next time with you trying to talk your way into the goblin camp as a filthy little half-breed, apparently.
Yeah, surprise!
I didn't know this was a thing.
Surprise!
So
I haven't claimed to be anything else other than orc, but you remember when I kind of clicked my tongue at when you called me an orc before last session? And I said, nope, everything's fine, everything's okay.
I mean, let's be clear. I've been calling you an orc for the past 50 days now.
Because I do not advertise I'm a half-breed. But the little goblin dude who's seen half-breeds before...
Have I picked up the tick then every time I'm like,
I probably got better
the
at it.
orcs, you know, your kind.
That's also why I give him such
we
a
get
hard
Artha?
time. Is because he's a full-blood.
We do get Artha. In addition to what I've said this session, you get your 2 and 1 for the norm. And we will begin next time with the 3 of you having a dead deer as hostage. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope to see you next time.